Hey anglers! Today we'll talk about an extremely chill and fun video game, where you will explore remote islands full of treasures, tentacles and other Lovecraftian creatures. Scour the surrounding depth for a variety of fish, ranging from perfectly normal marine fauna to their mutated variants. Meet the locals, sell your haul for quick cash, and complete quests that unravel more about each archipelago. Reinforce your vessel, skills and knowledge to dredge deeper and reach more mysterious, secluded lands. So what are you waiting for? Get on the boat and be ready for your sinister fishing adventure in Dredge. Dredge is an open-world adventure RPG developed by Black Salt Games and published by Team 17. You play as a nameless fisherman applying for a job in Greater Marrows, a small town easily recognizable by its lighthouse. Unfortunately, the bright light from the lighthouse wasn't enough to prevent you from crashing your ship into the jagged rocks along the bay, damaging it beyond repair. And now all you have left is an old vessel provided by the mayor of Greater Marrows. Oh, and by the way, it was provided in the form of a loan, so you owe him money. Surprisingly, he didn't even try to rip us off with an outrageously high interest rate. The whole debt is like $50, and you can easily pay it off by fishing. The fishing system in Dredge is designed as a series of minigames that visually change depending on the fish you're trying to catch. It's straightforward. When you see the circling indicator passing through the green or yellow bars, just press F to pull the rod and you will be a seasoned fisherman in no time. Regarding the yellow indicator, all you need to know is that if you manage to click correctly to land on the yellow segment, you will catch a trophy fish, which is basically the same fish with an extra value. How fast you'll be able to catch something is determined by fishing speed. It can take from 1 to several clicks, depending on the minigame and your equipment. Basically, if you want to catch fish quickly, the best way is to get a better rod or upgrade your old one. You can also install some additional upgrades, but more on that later. Dredging is slightly different. Unlike fishing, where you pull the rod on the green segment, dredging requires you to navigate a minigame with rotating red circles. Your task is to dodge gaps in these circles by switching the lanes your arrow indicator occupies. Precision here is essential, because if you hit those gaps, your progress will drop dramatically, creating an infinite loop of suffering, where you either get good and beat this minigame, or accept defeat, living in anger. Catching artifacts may be more challenging due to the accelerated minigame, but with a little practice, you'll manage. Oh, and also, each of your actions, whether it's fishing, moving or dredging, advances time. Keep this in mind the next time you go fishing, because after a few minigames, you might find yourself in the dark, surrounded by the coastal waters of the Marrows, far from the lighthouse and familiar docks, covered in thick fog, from which comes a strange sound, similar to a foghorn. If you hear this sound, it means you're a few seconds away from being pounded by the night angler. Don't worry, it won't instantly kill you, unless you're near a rock, in which case you'll be crushed like a pineapple. That's why I always upgrade my engines first, because it allows you to outrun any danger in this game, and there's a lot of danger out there. Keep your panic high and you'll encounter most of them in no time. Tentacles, crows, red water spouts, and even a giant blob of oil. These and other enemies are waiting for you. But let's get back to the more important question. What is panic? I'm glad you asked. If you see a red, jittery eye at the top of the screen, flashing an increasingly more intense red, that means you're currently losing your shit. Drink soothing tea or get some rest at the nearby town, reflecting on whether it's worth sailing at night. Otherwise, you will learn the hard way why everyone in the Greater Marrows warned you to return by sundown, before the fog rolls in. You can turn off your lights and pray that it won't reach you. But that's for the pussies. Real men sail straight into the fog until their panic level skyrockets, and then, oh well, whatever happens, happens. I intentionally skipped other enemies tied to each region, because you have to experience that for yourself. Honestly, the worst thing about panic isn't some scary sounds or giant tentacles emerging from the water, but fucking rocks spawning right in front of you. I hope you upgraded your lights to see them, because if you don't, you'll spend a lot of money repairing your ship. There are also crows. I fucking hate crows. If you don't have banish, then you're pretty much fucked, because they can still spawn during during daylight and keep harassing you until they steal all your fish. As you can see, your cargo space is rather limited. Even with all upgrades, it still barely manages to hold 3 sharks, which isn't bad actually, considering they cost almost $200 each. But to even get to that point, you need upgrades, a lot of upgrades, and even more resources. Materials are scattered across the map, and all of them are replenishable with time, except refined metal. These items can be collected only once, at specific points on the map, the path to which you usually have to clear with explosives. But Knight, what if I need just one more refined metal to upgrade my boat? Can't I just buy it from the merchant? No, you can't. Don't ever buy this shit from the merchant, because by the end of the game you will have like 5 more of them, which sounds great until you realize that they are no longer required anywhere, and now they just take up space in your storage. Of course you can sell them for $100, but come on, you bought them for $500. Isn't that unfair? What happens to your reputation when other merchants find out that they can simply scam the shit out of you? So yeah, I guess it's better to leave them in my storage. Anyway, let's get back to the story. After paying your debt, sooner or later you will meet this guy, who introduced himself simply as the Collector. He installs dredging equipment on our boat and sends us on a quest to find the 5 lost relics. In return we will get some sick abilities and a new waifu. Sounds good enough, but what tricks can we possibly get from this strange man? Well, magical ones. Now let's discuss all of them. Haste is the first and probably the most used ability in this game. It increases your panic, overheats your engines, but that speed boost is totally worth it, especially in the early game. Just watch out for overheating, so you don't accidentally break your engines while you're on the open ocean, because the journey to the nearest shipwright will be extremely slow and painful. In the worst case scenario, you can just use Manifest and teleport back to Blackstone Isle. Speaking of which, it's your second ability that you can get after obtaining the music box. Extremely good, very handy, but how exactly does it allow you to instantly move from one location to another? I don't know, and honestly, I don't care. You can't explain magic. Banish, my beloved. Third ability, and basically the only thing that wards away monsters, at least while it's active. Atrophy is the last reward from the Collector, because he doesn't give a fuck about equivalent exchange, and for the 5 relics you will get only 4 skills. It allows you to instantly get an aberration from the fishing spot, which might seem not very useful at first, especially considering that the fish obtained this way is almost always rotten. But if you want to get 100% in this game, then Atrophy is your best friend. You can use it with all kinds of bait, and especially the exotic one. For some time I couldn't understand what to do with the exotic bait and how it was supposed to work, because you spend a dark canister, mixed bait, and $700 on crafting it, and what do you get in return? Some exotic fish that at best costs $200. I wasted at least 2 exotic baits and gave up on them completely, until one day I saw a post where a guy explained that it's better to use Atrophy on this bait to get an aberration, and now it all makes sense. That's basically all you need to know about magic abilities. So explore the map, do some quests, and try to find those relics. Just remember, you don't have to rush. Do it at your own pace. After all, there's a lot of weird stuff going on out there. Maybe you can even untangle this mystery and find out who these hooded figures are, where the fuck came from, and what turned once normal marine fauna into aberrated creatures. But most importantly, why do you keep stumbling upon these notes about some couple that found a strange book on their holiday trip? And why does the Collector have a similar book in his hands? I don't know, but it's probably just a coincidence. If you want to learn more about the lore in Dredge, I recommend touching these black obelisks while having high panic. They all describe a part of the backstory or lore of the game and give you more insight into the local area. For example, this one explains that Stellar Basin is in fact a meteor crater, and the giant kraken lying in the center center wasn't always there. Most likely, the creature we see right now was one of the space spores from the meteor that survived the fish frenzy of its skin by landing on the thick silt of the seafloor. There are a lot of characters in Dredge, and you can never be sure who you'll meet next. It might be some hungry crackhead in a robe, a stray dog, or even your old friend. The game is full of standard fetch quests, so don't be surprised that most of the people you encounter will ask for something like take me from point A to B, collect some fish, or even help me reunite with my brother by dredging up the old family crest that I stole from him. The main motivator to complete them is research parts and books, and while the first one is straightforward, the books require an explanation. Besides allowing you to pass the time while sailing, they provide various passive bonuses, such as 15% resilience to panic, more movement speed from engines, and 10% more fishing speed. If you're playing for the first time, you never know what reward you will get for a quest. It could be research parts, an old ring, or some other bullshit. But when you get a book, it's always hype. And by the way, hooded figures always reward you with books, so it's definitely worth doing their quests. Just don't forget to select the book you want to read, because it doesn't happen instantly and takes some time while you're fishing or sailing. I must admit that for a game largely focused on exploration and fishing, Dredge has a pretty good story. Sadly, it doesn't explain it very well, so don't feel too bad if you finished the game and didn't understand anything. Luckily, I am here to help, so if you're not afraid of spoilers, make yourself comfortable. First, you did this. You unleashed Lovecraftian horrors into this world. Turns out, reading some strange book from the chest you just pulled up is not a very good idea. The retrieval of the book really pissed off the Leviathan, so he immediately attacked us and destroyed our boat. Your wife and some of the crew members drowned in the incident. Those who survived, including the fisherman and the mayor of Little Marrow, washed up on a nearby island. They pleaded with the fisherman to throw the book back as the fog rolled onto the shore, but it was too late. You became obsessed with it. The old mayor went mad and became a wandering recluse. The fisherman retreated to his house on Blackstone Isle, where he studied the book and eventually found a ritual that might bring his wife Julie back. But before you could conduct the ritual, your mind broke completely, and now you don't remember anything about who you are or what happened. Many years have passed since you vanished, so the only people who still recognize you are a lighthouse keeper who saw how your boat was destroyed by Leviathan, and the old mayor, who is batshit insane. As far as everyone else knows, you're a random stranger who washed up needing a job, and the Marrows have trouble keeping fishermen around, with all the dangers out on the water. If it isn't obvious already, you are Tyler Durden. You're still carrying the book, even though you don't recognize that you have it. The part of you that does remember appears to you as the collector, your dark mirror reflection that sends you searching for Julie's scattered possessions, in the vain hope of restoring her to life. Dredge is also one of those games where the bad ending is much more interesting than the so-called good one, especially after the main plot twist. I really think there is something beautiful about this story. A man ready to sacrifice the whole world for a brief hallucination of his dead wife. By the way, in one playthrough you can get both endings. I know it might sound strange, but the game was designed in such a way that during the ending your progress isn't saved. It's quite convenient, but strange. I mean, did you really finish the game, or was it just a dream, some vision from the future? It leaves you in that uncertain state. And that's all I can tell for the story, at least in the base game. Luckily, we also have two DLCs, the Pale Reach and the Iron Rig. The Iron Rig was released relatively recently and adds the things you always needed in Dredge, but never knew you did. It's also much bigger than the previous DLC, which is definitely a plus. The premise is very simple. A massive oil rig appeared out of nowhere, with only one intention: drill baby drill. Iron Haven Corporation is here to profit, but they can't start drilling without supplies. It looks like a bunch of shady suits who would sell their own kits for a profit margin didn't expect that this place would be filled with monsters. So the ships they used to deliver materials keep going missing, and there won't be any more deliveries for a few weeks. That's when you come in. Fetch crates, catch catch mutant fish, and keep upgrading their floating ocean violation, while the ocean turns into gothic smoothie of black sludge. But Knight, why would I ever want to help these capitalist pigs and participate in this bullshit? The answer is very simple: upgrades. Despite its many flaws, it's hard to deny that capitalism has brought technology and development to the world. The Iron Rig offers you these technologies to assist in your journey. Let's take Factory for example. Here you can upgrade your rods, acquire useful equipment, and get new types of bait, some of which we discussed earlier. The Tech Lab offers you stat improvements and ability enhancements. Reinforce your lights to lessen the effects of panic and improve the light radius. Turn your old spyglass into an extremely useful piece of equipment that allows you to identify and mark fish on the map, and enhance the foghorn to make it less useless, since its honk only attracts enemies, making you an easy target in the open sea. At least I thought so. Turns out it can also be used to chase off crows, and the only reason I know about this is because of the wiki, so it's actually pretty good. I just wish I knew this before finishing the game. The second tier of the Tech Lab has 6 modules that give you a bonus when placed in the boat. You can read more about the others, but I'll focus on my 2 favorites, which are the Heat Sink that increases heat absorption, allowing you to spam haste even more, and the Troll Guidance Chip that increases the catch rate of your trolling equipment. I didn't understand the value of trolling nets until I filled every single slot of my cargo hold with guidance chips and turned my boat into the ultimate fish collector, providing me with an infinite source of cash. Alternatively, you can invest all your money into crab pots, gaining some first passive income and earning even more if you sail to Dragon Cliffs. But is it worth it? No. It's not just that managing all these crab pots gets tedious after a while. In the early game, research parts are very important and rare, so spending like 8 of them on this research tree is a bit too much. Especially when you can get an insanely OP crab pot in the second region. But what if I tell you that trolling nets have even more uses? I'm talking of course about Siphon Troller and Material Harvester. They are both trolling nets, so guidance chips work on them too. This results in the following situations when you equip a Siphon Troller to collect some black sludge and get 5 dark canisters in a few seconds. In the case of Material Harvester, the name speaks for itself. With this shit equipped, you can forget about dredging for the rest of your life, because just moving around the map gives you more resources than you can spend. The only downside is that at this point I don't need any of this, but if you have any excess materials, you can visit the foundry and turn them into crates. Tier 2 foundry allows you to exchange your crates for other useful things, like research parts and refined metal. Finally, after numerous fetch quests, you will get access to the fleet services and upgrade your vessel to a sweet tier 5 hull. This time I won't spoil the story for you, just wanna say that seeing this thing dead feels so damn peaceful. Amazing DLC, 10 out of 10, definitely worth the money. Unlike the Pale Reach, I can't say much about the Pale Reach DLC, it's like the first sex that ended prematurely. Seriously, what is this shit? Within an hour, you fully explore the entire new region, collect 4 ice axes, use them on the frozen figures, and that's it. The last thing you see is a giant creature finally dying and its horn crumbling to pieces. Here's your OP troll net and the teleport. I mean, I'm not complaining, that shit is really good, but what the fuck just happened? I know this kind of stuff is subjective, but the soundtrack and visuals in this game are amazing and work perfectly to create a Lovecraftian, looming dread atmosphere, although it's most noticeable in the early game, because as soon as you get your lights and engines upgraded, the game stops being scary. Now it's just a great adventure RPG with an open world, good story, and many quests to occupy your time. Of course, it's not ideal, and I have some critique. Let's start with dirt cheap trinkets. There's basically no reason to waste your time dredging for treasures, because with the same effort you can earn 10 times more from fishing. Hell, even a few crab pots will earn you more money than even all trinkets combined that you found throughout the game. There's also a crafting system, which is tedious to say the least. The game needs an option to craft multiple items at once. I almost got an aneurysm making a fuck ton of bait and troll guidance chips. At least it was worth it. Finally, customization. Dredge really lacks more customization options for your boat. 7 flags and 8 paint colors are great, but I would gladly add something more unique to my vessel. Figureheads, deck accessories, themed modifications. I would also appreciate the ability to add something of my own, like a custom name for the boat, or even an Ahegao print on my flag. Despite the visible lack of any other ships, you are not alone in this ocean. Someone or something is watching you. No matter how hard you try, you will never escape the archipelago. And to be fair, I don't want to. This game has so much potential. You can expand the map, add new ships, monsters, and so on. I'm not against DLCs, just please make them bigger. Even after finishing Dredge on 100%, it's still not enough. I need more. So please add new content. I have 40 grand and a ton of materials I don't know what to do with. As for anyone else, if you liked my review on this beautiful game, feel free to leave a comment. It takes a minute of your time and I would like to see some feedback. See you in the next video.